What's going on, everybody? I got a really, really special guest here. One of my longer term clients, Ori. Ori, what's going on, man?
Yo,
Good to see you, dude. Ori, for everybody who does not know you, I'm pretty familiar with your service. As a matter of fact, I just flew out to Miami to record a bunch of stuff for you. Tell everyone, what is your service? Like, what do you do?
so my wife and I run a hybrid demand generation agency that also does a lot of consulting. So I teach about 350 agencies inside of Client Ascension. I've just about 40 clients currently with lead generation, and we work with a lot of the companies that we work with are typically like around 20 to 30 employees, but the companies that they work with, it's a lot of corporate, it's a lot of enterprise, it's a lot of private equity, pharmaceutical. Like it's not like we do websites for people. Like it's I'm not doing like the traditional lead gen stuff. We really like to be a bridge between sort of the old world and the new world in our approach. So Liz has a me and Liz both have traditional backgrounds. I had a seven-figure hospitality based business. Liz did PR for the city of Philadelphia, a bunch of celebrity chefs. But we realized that there's a lot more potential and a lot more excitement in sort of the new way of doing things. So funnels and emails and websites and optimization and really applied human psychology. So that's more interesting to us. And a big part of that when you're doing something like that is what is your voice as a founder, as an owner? How are you different? And then how do you express that clearly and succinctly to the right people? So I probably have an example of a campaign that doesn't necessarily get a ton of views. Like I'm not trying to be Mr. Beast, but for the people who get it, they really get it when they watch my YouTube or watch my content or go on the website. And I think Cam, you were a big part of really developing that voice and feeling comfortable using it. So I think that's probably the biggest value besides the time and the money or whatever. Because like
Yeah, man, and let's hop into it though. Like, I'd love to
yeah.
know specifically, like, how much has the business grown specifically with content, with time saved? Like, tell me, revenue
I mean,
based, content wise, how has the business grown?
so the thing with content, I think we've gotten like probably made like I don't know 10,000 ish at least from YouTube leads, but like it's hard to measure because the way the game works is it's very like nothing, 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 and then everything works. So it's like you have one case study, nothing happens. You have two case studies, nothing happened. You get to like five, starts to move. You get to like 20, people are like, okay, you're good. You do one video, nothing happens. You do two, you do like 100, and then people are like, okay, you're an authority, right? So it's like it's every person who signs up with you is Googling you, is going on LinkedIn, is going on Twitter, is going on YouTube, and they're trying to get a sense of who you are, what you're about, and just having that foundation. Because YouTube is sort of the highest, I would say, quality content that you're probably going to have as a founder. You can't really half-ass. Like I can just like record myself and put it on like Twitter and it's fine or LinkedIn, but with YouTube it doesn't really work that way. So you need like a decent level of production quality. You need to be. It has to look a certain way. And
And
I think YouTube is really the cornerstone. Like if I could only show people one thing, it would be my YouTube because they can really
and
get a sense of okay, here's how the whole thing works.
yeah, let's talk about that too, because content, especially when you're selling to higher level people on a higher level platform, requires so much production value. I think it's safe to say you probably don't have time to fully produce content all day long. So, like, what has your process been as far as
Well,
recording content and everything?
the thing that you have to realize as an entrepreneur is that there's only the reality of your life as a business owner, the reality of life in general is that there is no enough. So you're either working out not enough and you're kind of soft, and or you're working out too much and you're just like fuck, like my shoulder hurts, like I'm tired, like there is no like perfection. So as an entrepreneur, you either have too many clients or not enough clients. So anybody who has too many clients, almost by definition, you don't have time because your life is like you think about like an Olympic athlete, right? And the people around them, their diet, their social media, like everything has to be on point because the better they get, the more it's like your life is hanging by a thread. So if you're like growing the business to like $1 million a year, which is our goal by the end of the year, and you are like you're pushing things physically. Like I have an amateur boxing match in October. The training is really tough. Like you're doing a bunch of stuff. Like we have in a relationship, so like marriage. So how do you balance it? And it's like you're never going to have enough time. So it's you could do your own content, but at the end of the day, you pretty much need help with everything. You need a coach for you need a lifting coach, a sparring coach, or a boxing coach, a wrestling. You need everybody. So you definitely need. You probably need a content guy. The only question I think is when. And you need to have because what happens is if you don't do any brand building work, you're basically at the mercy of the rise and fall of the market. So you look at all of the let's even use YouTube as an example. Look at all of like the YouTube guys, and then you see the ones that like established good personal brands and built a bunch of case studies, and those people are like flying, and then everybody else just shifted to another business model. And they're just like, all right, we're not going to do because it used to be everybody could sell TikTok like short form content like a year and a half ago, and you could like you could sell it like selling like it was like you could sell snow to an Eskimo, so everybody was buying it. And now it's like the market glutted so quickly that if there was no other competitive advantage, like okay, we're going to build you sales assets, we're going to drive traffic to them, we're going to help you develop your voice as an entrepreneur to build this parasocial relationship with leads that you reach out to. That none of that existed. So it was like the people that evolved and built a brand and made and like streamlined their offer, like those people survived, and then everyone else died. So it's almost like there's like a secret society because when people think like the market gets saturated, it's like you're on like the track team and you're running like a 10-second 100-meter dash, and then you look at all these people that can't even run like a 10-minute mile, and you're like the market is saturated. But the truth is like most people aren't trying very hard, and if you have a good content strategy, if you do really good work, you do a lot of inbound and outbound outreach, it's very easy to run circles around them. But it does take a constant effort. I don't believe that it's possible without running content consistently like in 2024, 2025. Because why for me it's
I
like
love that
if
point.
someone's not doing videos or YouTube or Twitter or whatever, like why like
I
why
love the point because it just makes sense, right? Like if you're in, the longer you can let someone else that you want to buy from you see you and spend time with you, you'll just make more money. It
I
just
mean,
makes phenomenal sense.
you can fuck up, you can have like 20 bad videos and then one video gets 500 views and you get like 3 clients from it. Like the
And it's just
ROI
that
is
simple.
so high. It's like cold email, like if you're running your old cold email, if you're working with a cold email agency, like most of our clients are like 8 to 12x plus. If you're doing like you, it's the same thing. Like it's really hard not to get a 10x on it because like
It just works.
it's just so cheap and it works so well. So it's like
It just works.
if the guy's not doing the really cheap, easy thing, it's like you go to a restaurant and the bathrooms are dirty and you're like, motherfucker, like that's so much easier to clean than the kitchen. So like if the
Yeah,
bathroom is fucking dirty, like what else is going on? So I'm like, when I see a company that's not doing it, it's industry by industry, right? So if you're like in pharmaceutical sales, okay, but like
for sure.
if you're like a realtor and you're not doing content, like what is wrong with you? Like
You
why
got to
would
be on
you?
content. You
Or
got to
if
be on
you're
content.
like if you're like in any kind of marketing at all and you're not doing content like consistently, like why?
Hmm.
Like
You
just
got to be in
why?
it. So then, Ori, let's talk about like this specifically, right? How much time do you actually spend recording content? I feel like a lot of people get lost in
Um,
translation and feel
so I
like they
think it's
have
like
to
a
spend
two-part
all day
answer
recording.
because there's like a two-part answer because part one is like, okay, well, how much physical time does it take? And then part two is like, how can you be the person who just spits out content all the time? Because if you think about
Well,
your
before,
offer,
yeah, there we go. Before we get there, that's exactly what I want to talk about. Is like how much time do you spend like actually recording and planning out the content?
I spend like zero time. So I'll just talk to you and you turn it into videos and like I never really script anything, I never plan anything. But a lot of that is because we've spent so much time together just like developing my voice. And in the beginning you were like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, no one understands this, like say one thing at a time, like just speak clearly, speak into the camera, like quit like fucking around with your lighting. And now it's like I just do it and I don't really think about it, and like
It's
it
literally
just
like
saves so
having a
much
coach at
time.
the gym. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
literally like having a coach at the in the beginning. It was like all of this is wrong. Like change all of it, all out of love, right? But like to get the best results, like fix this.
yeah,
Now I was just telling somebody our last recording session, or you pumped out like 4 videos in like 30 minutes. I was like,
yeah.
holy crap, that's
It's
enough
not
for the
even
month.
trying.
Yeah, and then when I so because I don't even offer this service for everybody, but when I came to Florida, and I recorded content with you guys, what you and Liz recorded a total of like 12 videos, and you guys probably only spent about 2.5 hours actually in front of the camera recording content, which is phenomenal. Like that is enough content for 4 months for most people that you guys knocked out in like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this: what surprised you about the service? Like, since you've been in it for a long time, like, does anything about content surprise you or sort of catch you off guard? Like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think it would happen like that.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is how many different ways there are to win. So like I was just fucking around on LinkedIn and I was like, all right, I'll post something. And then a guy closed from LinkedIn. Like I was just messing around. Like a lot of stuff I say like doesn't match up with anybody else. But like I don't want to like educate people. Like I don't want like if someone is like, what is a cold email? Like that's not for me. Like I'm here to talk about like here's how we solved real problems for real businesses. Like we booked Colgate today for a client, like the C-suite at Colgate. It's like Colgate Palmolive is the same company. I was like, what the fuck? But like Colgate Palmolive is the same company. So we booked them. Uh, and it's like, how did we do that? Well, a lot of it was being patient. Like people don't talk about that. Like when you're working with enterprise, like this is a client that closed Boeing, and it's weeks to get a lead, but then that lead is worth $20 million. So it's like, but if you're like going into it, like you're like, I do SEO for doctors, and I'm like, bro, this is not the same game.
Yeah.
So it's like this is the kind of content that I'm interested in. And what I was surprised by is that like the right people actually do find you, even though it doesn't look like it. So most of the game is what people don't see. Because people see the views and people see like the follower counts. And it's like they don't actually see what's really going on.
Hmm.
Like the
What is?
guy that closed from LinkedIn, he's working with another influencer. Like everybody knows his name. The guy's making like, I don't know, $50 million a year. And my videos get like what, like 100 views a day or something. So it's
Mhm.
like I'm like nothing, but the guy like just he's like, oh, this guy gets it. Like email
Yeah,
stuff, like response stuff, this guy gets it. And he didn't
because
care.
what really goes on, Ori, is people want reasons to trust you on the internet. And the more reasons you give them to trust you, it's like, oh yeah, of course. Like it doesn't matter that you're just this big guy with tons of views. People really don't care about that much, as much as it's like, can this person solve my problem? So I think that's spot on. Before we wrap this thing up, are there any final thoughts? Anything you want to tell people, specifically about content or like this service and your experience with it as a whole?
Like it's the things that people are afraid of are like you're afraid of screwing up, you're afraid of doing the wrong things, you're afraid of getting the thumbnail wrong, you're afraid of like getting the format wrong. And in practice, like most things you're afraid of, you're gonna do anyway, and they don't even matter. So it's like most of the things that people are afraid of, like they're afraid of wasting money, they're afraid of doing the wrong thing. And I'm like, even if you do everything wrong, you'll still get results. And if you have like a good guy, like if you have somebody in your corner, like they're gonna keep you from effing up your content. So
It's my job.
it's like everything else. Like it's like you want to do it yourself, you go on the internet, but like if you're good at anything and you YouTube what you're good at and you're like, wow, 99% of this advice is bullshit. Like it's the same thing. So you just have to hire someone good and then trust them is basically the game. Like you just have to hire somebody that you know is good and then trust them and you'll be fine. But
Mhm.
like if you, because everyone is lying to you. So the people that are going to do it for you make it sound really complicated. The people that want you to do it yourself make it sound really easy. And the truth is always going to be a mix of both, and it's always going to be individualized around your strengths. So there's certain content that I'm really good at making, and there's certain content that I would be really bad at making. So, but like, you're a good like mentor's job is to figure that out. So,
Mhm.
does that make sense?
It does. I think it makes perfect sense. Like my job is to clean up any mistake that you would make and always be in your best interest. The hard part about doing it by yourself is that you don't have somebody that's posting 12 times a day on YouTube to be able to clean it up. So Ori, with that being said, man, thank you so much for this interview, dude. I'm gonna make sure to leave your YouTube and all of the stuff down below in the comments so that everybody
Cool.
be able to see it. Other than that, man, thanks so much.
All right, awesome. Thank you.